monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Do the math. At Oak Mountain Academy, our average graduating class has just 12 students. We celebrate a 100% graduation rate with more than $10.5 million in college scholarships offered. Plus, 96% of our students are accepted into their top choice college. Do the math. Can you see the value of an OMA education? I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, and I'm here to help you do the math. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
National headlines and the local stories you care about. WLBB, Carrollton, News Talk, 1330, FM 106.3.
Good morning. Welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Raddick, your host. Delighted to have you with us this morning. It's a beautiful day, a little bit chilly, but still a wonderful day. We've got in studio State Senator Tim Bearden. He comes back every so often as we preview the 2026 session. And, of course, he says he has no clue as to what's going to happen.
Too many people running for statewide office. It's going to be a defensive type of year.
Tim Bearden has been a resident of West Georgia since moving to Haralson County in 1975 and graduating from Bremen High School. Started his career in law enforcement with the Villa Rica Police Department, rising to the rank of sergeant with the motorcycle division for the Douglasville Police Department. Now lives in Carrollton with his wife, Triska, of 29 years. 30 big ones. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
2 adult kids.
Yep.
2004, Tim was elected as state rep for House District 68, encompassing parts of Carroll and Douglas counties. During Tim's service in the state house, he voted to cut taxes, protect life, and strengthen Georgia's immigration laws. He eventually became the chairman of the Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee. 2011, Governor Nathan Deal appointed him as the executive director of the Georgia Public Safety Training Center. Following his service there, along with his stint as Deputy Chief of Staff of House Speaker David Ralston, Tim joined the private sector and works in government affairs. He was elected to the state senate last year and serves District 30. He serves on the following committees. Correct me if these are wrong. Banking and Financial Institutions, ex officio member of Economic Development and Tourism, member of Education and Youth, and education questions, Government Oversight and Public Safety ex officio, and a member of Veterans, Military, and Homeland Security. So, with that, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming in. It's kind of become a favorite topic of mine because I think it's critically important. A lot of people say it's a national security issue. And I know I heard you comment that you've been studying data centers now for several months, kind of getting up to speed. And is it a national security issue, and how do you view it?
It does. And before we get started, I do want to say a day early. Happy Veterans Day to everyone. It was glad to see you and your team out at the Carroll County Veterans Memorial Park this Saturday for
that would be chief videographer Joel.
And it was a good turnout. Could always use more people for the turnout, but it's a great facility, and I really enjoy that. So did want to take a moment to say happy Veterans Day to everyone tomorrow. So yes, the data centers is a national security issue, and one of the things we look at is because of AI, artificial intelligence, even the administration, the Trump administration has made this a priority and said it's a national security issue. One of two countries are going to control AI. It's either going to be the United States or China. This is one where there's no option on the field. China cannot be the one controlling AI. Again, this has truly battlefield implications. If they do control it, we will lose, I think, our superiority as a military. So we need to make sure that we're the ones leading this effort. Now, from a more granular state and local issue and across the United States, data centers are getting a lot of attention, of course, in the news. So what are data centers? How much energy are they using? What's the future look like for this technology? The future for making sure that we have the ability to power not just data centers, but our homes, our industry and commercial. Those are very important questions that we got to look at. And technology today is getting to the point where years ago you could buy a computer and within 6 months to a year you have to buy a new one because it was outdated. This technology is changing so quickly. What comes out today could be outdated tomorrow. That's how quickly these are changing. And we all use a huge amount of data. And for an example, I had to get on my iPhone, which is, our phones are not phones, they're computers with a phone app. So, and send a signal to get my TV connected back to the internet. But when I was on that app, it said there's 11 connected devices. Well, that kind of shocked me because I started thinking, well, I do got my cell phone, wife, my daughter's cell phone, TVs or smartphone, or smart TVs, they're connected, computers in the house to laptops. There's so much connectivity, and then a lot of these houses today, you can control your thermostat, your lights, shut your garage door, got refrigerators that will tell you when to buy milk now. So there's a lot of information going on out there. So what are the data centers doing? There are two different type of modules that you will find in a data center. One is a learning module that's usually powered by GPUs, which is NVIDIA. They've been around since the days of CAD and drawing and art and gaming and that type of stuff. So that's kind of their architectural development. That's their
where they started.
That's their floor. So kind of go up with the house. You can change your colors, but it's hard to change your foundation. So to kind of break that down in a simple term, take your favorite restaurant. Let's say your favorite restaurant has 7 pages on the menu. You put that menu in that learning module and it learns the menu. Now let's say you want to lose 5 pounds over the next 30 days, but yet you want to eat at this restaurant every day. And you put into a chat GPT or Grok or whatever and say, how do I lose weight while still eating here every day? That is what's called inference. It's giving you the information to the question that you asked. So right now, data centers are basically at a 60-40 mix, 60% on that training portion, 40% on inference. But inference is the piece that's really going to be driving data centers going forward, and really probably the next 1 to 2 years is going to really excel because so many people are using them. So inference, chips and stacks, because of the technology changing, they use a tremendous less amount of energy. So where a learning module chip from NVIDIA may use 120 kilowatts to run a stack, which is usually 16 chips in a stack. The inference part with some of these new companies that came out and saw what was going on and getting ahead of the game, they're running at 60% less to 90%. So you got stacks running at 10 kilowatts and using absolutely no water for cooling. So that's why I say technology is changing so quickly. And to show you why inference is getting to be so popular, people going on and asking those questions.
But with inference also, the space requirements should be less, correct? You would need as bigger buildings, as much space, as much acreage.
Correct. You probably could use one inference stack and replace 10 other stacks.
Yeah,
so
I've heard like 1 to 20.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah. But, so yeah, you're in the neighborhood. So you're looking at a tremendous amount of cost savings here. So what's difficult from the state level or even the federal level is how do you regulate technology? It changes so quickly. If you say you got to use this particular type of chip or stack today, you're back in a special session because it's already out of date and there's a newer one. But I think it is a legitimate questions for local cities and counties to ask when a data center is looking at coming in, what type of stacks are you putting in your facility? Is it the most efficient stacks? Do they use less water or no water for the cooling part of it? What's the breakdown between training modules and inference models in there? So
that's a good question for local representatives and commissioners, et cetera, to ask those kind of detailed questions.
Yeah, just making sure that you know exactly what's going in and are we using the most efficient stacks available for energy and for saving water. Now, data centers have already made changes towards water consumption. Some of the older ones uses a lot of water for cooling. What you're seeing now is data centers coming in and using closed loop systems. So it may not be potable water. It could be gray water using for the cooling systems. We also know that a lot of these companies are looking at different cooling mechanisms that's not water. Can they use something else that would help cool the chips? Because these chips get extremely hot and they have to be replaced. So when you start taking out stacks, putting in new stacks, even the data center from the business standpoint should be looking at the most energy efficient and the ones using the least amount of water or no water. So I think technology is going to change a lot of this, but the inference piece of the puzzle is truly going to overtake the learning portion, training module part.
So it's going to change the whole debate.
Yeah, it really is in the future.
So you cover Carroll, Harrison, and represent Carroll, Harrison, a portion of Paulding, a portion of Douglas.
Correct.
Now, Harrison doesn't have any data centers at the time. I think there's one proposed for Carroll, and Douglas got several, right?
Yeah, I think Douglas is in the 14 range.
That's a lot.
Up on different areas on the east side of the county. But,
on the east side, which you don't represent.
And I think there's one coming in that's Mary is going through the process on the west side.
Yeah.
Coming in. But, so when we're looking at, let's kind of shift the debate just a little bit to power.
Right.
Georgia Power's already made a proposal, asked the PSC, the Public Service Commission, about creating more gas-fired energy plants.
And that'd be natural gas.
Natural gas, because we have an abundance of natural gas here in the United States. So what you're also seeing now is data centers looking at that generation between electricity and gas. Even in South Georgia now, a little bit different. Do they have the fiber that's needed for a data center? But you can go with bioenergy with the wood chips, and they can create through that system a plant that creates 100 megawatts of power. So there are, and also when you have chips and stacks that are using tremendously less amount of energy, and we've seen this happen overseas some, that you may have a smaller data center that can be used during the day off solar and then switch over to traditional energy at night. So this technology piece, I'm fascinated by it. It's like my son who's 26 who has a really good grasp on technology, but I'm older, so trying to learn this, but it's really unique to see how this is being used.
Georgia with the nuclear power plants has a real good electrical grid, but we hear constantly about how communist China is building a coal-fired plant, whether it's every few months or once a year or whatever, and so are we going to get caught talking about a national security issue because of the electricity portion of this?
The United States really did a poor job. We kind of turned our back on nuclear decades ago.
Yeah.
And then when we finally opened back up, Vogtle was the first two plants to add on in quite some time. And then we had, let's be honest, it was pretty much a disaster. We had massive delays, massive overruns in cost. So now what you're seeing is, again, entrepreneurship and technology looking at these small modular reactors, which is a much smaller footprint than a large nuclear facility. But they're probably still 4 to 5 years from commercialization.
Right.
Tennessee Valley Authority is contracting with one company to put 6 small modular reactors that can generate 77 megawatts of power on their property. I would kind of call it like a trial, but this company does have the Nuclear Regulatory Commission go up to 77 megawatts. So when you start seeing these getting to the point of commercialization, you may see some of these big companies say, I'm willing to pay for it to help generate the power that we need for whether it be a data center or whatever. But also there's going to be excess power there to help in the region for our residents, our industry, and our commercial, which is all very important for economic development to make sure we have that power. So it's kind of a all hands on deck. One nuclear facility like a Vogtle, one plant can generate like 2.2 gigawatts of power. We are behind right now to where we need to be in this country on power. So there's a lot of work, but I'm really impressed with this country. I always have been, from the history, to see where we come in such a very short period of time.
Quickly. Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing, and I think we have we'll win this race, and we'll make sure we have the power that we need for our citizens throughout the country.
I guess this morning, State Senator Tim Bearden, representing District 30 in the Georgia State Senate, will be back with more after this.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Mountain Academy specializes in a customized designed academic approach tailored to meet the needs of our families. Our lower division prepares students with the necessary foundation to build excellence. Our middle division provides students with over 15 course offerings, providing them with opportunities to explore their talents and gifts. Our upper division provides personalized academic journeys, allowing them to achieve their dreams. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us, where every path leads to purpose.
All right, welcome back to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick. This is the data center extravaganza with State Senator Tim. I could have gone the whole program on that, but we'll have to bring you back.
Well, when you mentioned that, I was like, well, we're about to cut into Glenn Beck's time if we go full throttle with this.
He's got 3 hours. He can afford it. We may go a little bit longer. Okay. We recently did a news story with you regarding the state income tax.
Yeah.
And we're surrounded by states, virtually surrounded, I don't know exactly, but who have zero income tax. But the state legislature, in their wisdom, reduced the state income tax, I think, from 5.39 to 5.19.
Correct.
That's right. The thing to remember is that state tax is a flat tax.
Yeah, it started at 6%, so we have worked our way down from 6 to the current rate.
But the federal tax is a progressive income tax, correct? So it goes, the more harder you work and the more incentive you have to work, it's being squelched by the federal government because of a progressivism, which is also apparent in I just have to insert plank 2 of the Communist Manifesto. But anyway, are we going to be able to achieve a zero income tax in Georgia? And what are the ramifications of that?
We have a committee right now in the Senate that's looking at the state income tax. It's going to be interesting to see how this looks with the recommendations. State income tax brings in approximately around $16 billion. Had a feeling this was coming, so I want to bring in some of the tax breaks that we have.
Okay, give us some
different
numbers.
things.
Oh, okay.
So
now, wait a minute. You say taxes. So you're saying that? What do you mean you're going to bring in tax breaks? What's the point?
Well, there are some things that, let's say, the film tax credit that costs the state about $887 million a year for the film tax credit. But from $16,887,000,000 does not sound like a large amount.
No, it is.
So
let's look
at the biggest one out there. what we don't charge taxes on, services. So whether that be going to the barbershop, hair salon, going to getting a plumber to come to your house, you don't pay a tax on those services. So if you started charging a tax like a sales tax on those services, you're looking at approximately about $12.27 billion of revenue coming into the state.
So the knee-jerk question always, if you get rid of the income tax, where are you going to get the money?
Exactly.
And where are you going to get the money?
It's going to have to be either from taxing things that you don't currently tax, such as services. If that sounds familiar, I think in 05, 06, Glenn Richardson had the Great Plan, which kind of went towards that way. So in politics, it's amazing. You get this big circle of things always come back around. So, you got things such as sales and use tax exemption for food off-premise consumption, the film tax credit. Film tax credit's interesting to me because, yes, there is a tax credit out there if you do the movie production here in Georgia. You get X amount of dollars. Don't have all that broken down in front of me, but by doing it, you get tax breaks on.
So are you suggesting replacing the money with the income tax with eliminating some tax credits?
Yeah, and those are where you're going to have to look at, because you also have things for tax exemption, sales and use tax exemption for manufacturing, energy, machinery, and equipment. Well, that's very important to our manufacturing industry as well, to make sure that they can continue to be attracted here to Georgia and help them grow and expand their businesses. So that's why I said we got to look closely at the recommendations. The ones that we hear a lot about is the film tax credit. I understand that argument. Some people are like, we don't want to turn Georgia into California. None of us do. One of the things that we do see, though, is we have a lot of Georgia workers that went to school here that works on these sets. A lot of times you will have the actors and producers that will fly out, shoot the film here using Georgia workers, then they fly back to California or wherever. I think Oklahoma is having a big push right now in the film industry. England has a big push right now. A lot of people is going to England to film because of the credits involved. So what we're going to have to do, Steve, on this one is we're going to have to look at every single credit that we have. And as Blake Tillery once said from the Appropriations Committee, he said sometimes we're going to have to just say no. If we're going to replace the state income tax, we're going to have to say no to some of these entities that are currently has a credit out there. And there's a lot of them, more so than what we think. But we're going to have to look at each and every one of them and say, okay, this has to go. We're not going to give a tax credit here. These services may not be all services, maybe part services, but now you're kind of getting into picking winners and losers. So it's going to be very interesting to see what this committee comes up with. I think we'll still have a roll down this year on the state income tax, and probably the footprint or blueprint to how we get from where we are now to below 5 this coming year to get to 0. But it's going to be I always said I don't want to say we're going to 100% do something without seeing how the bill is drafted first. And we're going to have to look at these recommendations very closely to make sure that we can work our way to 0 to be competitive with our Florida, with our Tennessee just above us.
So reducing some tax credits, instituting some service charges, but what about reducing the state budget?
There are ways that you can try to look at cut the state budget. Now, I will say,
what would they be?
Again, you're talking about a major document that's pretty thick that you have to go page to page. But also in Georgia, we are probably we are one of the best per capita for tax dollars in the nation.
It's kind of like the federal budget. 53% of the state budget goes to education. Mm-hmm. So, that's virtually off the table.
Well, you got education, and then you have health care, which is another large chunk. So now you're really working your way to a very small part because you have two areas that's got to be funded.
Funded the federal government.
Yeah. So
Social Security and Medicare
And one of the things I don't want to see touched at all is public safety. I think we need to do more to help our public safety officials and our first responders.
I think it was State Senator Tyler Paul Smith talking about the State Patrol. We need more troopers and better pay, et cetera.
Yeah, we're doing better on the pay side, but we need more troopers. You look at a state like South Carolina that's much smaller than Georgia. They have more state troopers than we do. But we've got to make sure from across the board, from our local law enforcement, firefighters, emergency 911, our operators, we need to make sure that we are taking care of our public safety and our first responders. Most crucial thing to me, I think, for a city or a county or a state is to make sure our citizens are safe when they're outside, whether it be playing, going to school, or going shopping. So we need to make sure that we take care of our first responders.
Highest role of government. Let's take another break, and we'll be back with more after this.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy is a vibrant community built on innovation, academic excellence, and a 64-year legacy of shaping community leaders. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, inviting you to visit the mountain and experience firsthand the passion, purpose, and personalized education that defines our school. Come see how our mission and vision come to life each day. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
Good morning. Welcome back to Community Voice. We have State Senator Tim Bearden in the studio, District 30. You're on a study committee for the Next Gen 911. What in the world is Next Gen 911?
Yeah, the House actually has a study committee. I'm chairing a subcommittee on public safety looking at Next Gen 911. Basically right now, as you know, there's not many landlines left. You don't walk in many houses and see a phone sitting on the wall or on the table. And a lot of it's going through our cellular service, 911. So, again, technology seems to be the theme of the day. Next Gen 911 will allow, whether it be texting, video, going into 911. But one of the important aspects of the committee meeting that we were chairing was when we had North Carolina head of their 911 centers come in and talk to us about Hurricane Helene. Talked about one particular city, I believe it was interesting. I think it was Buncombe, North Carolina. Of course, we have Buncombe here in Haralson County.
Yes, we do, don't we?
That I think on average today, averaged around 485 calls a day, and during Helene, it hit over 5,000 calls that was just coming in. So some of their centers was completely wiped out by the hurricane. But luckily for them, they had the Next Gen 911 system in place. So what they was able to do is take these calls that were coming in to areas that was just being overwhelmed, transfer them over to a part of the state where the storm was not hitting them, and still be able to dispatch the calls, making sure the people that were needing help, that were trapped, that was having the floods coming in, was making sure that if they could dispatch the emergency services, if they could get there, they could make sure they get that help. So this is something that is a very important, from law enforcement days here in Billerica, Douglas County. You may get in a chase and you lose radio communications with your dispatchers, and then you end up having to use Cobb County or try to hook in with a Fulton County operator. So this really allows that continuity that you need in case there was an emergency disaster. And unfortunately, this country's seen it through, whether it be hurricanes or a terrorist attack or mass shooting, and just all these calls are just coming in. It allows the dispatch to make sure that our citizens are getting the calls coming in and getting these people dispatched where it needs to go.
We're running out of time. What's the timeline on that? A year or two or three or more, or what?
Number one, what we're trying to do is how do you fund it?
Okay.
That's going to be an important question here. So
that'll be on the horizon.
That's going to be on the horizon.
Okay.
We have our committee going, looking forward to the House State Committee also and working together with them to get this going for our 911.
If people want to get in touch with State Senator Tim Bearden and further questions or comments or any kind of support, how should they go about it?
Best one's tim.bearden@senate.ga.gov. Okay. Always checking the email, so feel free to give us a call too at 770-880-5377.
Our gratitude this morning to State Senator Tim Bearden, District 30, Carroll Harrelson, portions of Paulding and Douglas, and we thank you for listening. Go out and make it a great day, make it a great week. You're in tune to WLBB Carrollton.